Hello and Merry Christmas, everyone. The day that this video should be coming out will be Christmas Eve 2023. 2023 is almost over, and yeah, we're really kicking things off hard. So welcome, welcome, welcome. If you are watching on the holiday weekend, hope you guys have a great and Merry Christmas, and hope everything's going well. Hope you have a great weekend. So alrighty, guys, this was a very big week, so there's a lot to talk about. First off, we're going to start going through this week's finds. There were some mega pickups this week. So this is going to be another long video. I am going to put timestamps for each day if you want to kind of skip ahead, or if you want to go back and kind of reference some stuff and check a few things out. So it'll make things a little bit easier for you, considering these are very long videos. But there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot of value that we found. I've added some graphics and stuff in, so it's going to be a little bit more visually appealing. And yeah, so we got a lot. Big week here. We're going to go through that. And then just a couple of days ago, my wife and I, we started actually selling games. So up until this point, I've just been posting Blu-rays and only on a very exclusive sort of forum, buy, sell, trade board. Which encompasses about 1% of the local population of my town. So we've been doing extremely well with those. The reason why I start there is this group of people, well, they have money and they're just a little bit more reliable is probably the best way to say it. However, soon I will be opening things up to Facebook. But once again, a couple days ago, I did open up to this crowd for video games, and the reaction was absolutely staggering. It's the reason why I could not make the Techonomics, the rescheduled Techonomics podcast the other day. So I will talk more about that after we go through the finds for the week, so this way you guys have an idea of some of the inventory that was available. A lot of it was not available because it just came in the last couple days. But alrighty, guys, let's go ahead and get hunting. Alrighty, guys, so it is now Thursday, December 14th, so a day after I recorded the last really big video, and we're going to go through a few of the pickups that we have here today. I'm also trying to test out a new microphone. I'm using a lapel mic to see if we can get a little bit better audio and to see if this even works. So this first lot right here, this is a lot of just generic games that I picked up at the pawn shop. Some more common games, things that I think will sell pretty well. And we got a lot of 12 games here for only $40. And as you can see, these are newer games. So we're going to kick things off with PS4. We got Jedi Fallen Order. And then I picked up Infamous Second Son. So pretty good games here. Uncharted 4. These are popular games on the platform. I got Dragon Age Inquisition. I actually enjoyed this game, so I was like, I'll pick that up. And then we have Has Been Heroes. I'd never seen this before, so I took a chance on it. It's not particularly valuable, but I'm like, well, I've never played it, so we can at least give it a shot, see if it's any good. So, yeah, swing and a miss in terms of the value, but at the same time, these aren't going to be sold for a whole lot of money. I'm trying to pick these up as low as I can. These are going to be sold buy 3, get 1 free, and I think the math comes out right at $12 a piece, so $36 for 4 games. That's the way that I'll do it. Mass Effect Andromeda. Now, this one, we hit the jackpot because this is sealed, brand new sealed. And I'll go over how much we paid for these. You could have done the math by now yourself, but yeah, so this is going for $20 because, well, it's brand new. Then we have The Wolf Among Us. This is just a very highly rated game. I actually haven't played it, so now I have no excuse. And then for PlayStation 3, they didn't really have anything, but I like the Bad Company games. I think that they're honestly the best Battlefield games ever made, so I figured, hey, let's pick up Bad Company for the PS3. Now we got some Xbox 360s in here. Got Assassin's Creed Revelations. They had 2 different ones. I went with the Signature Edition. Doesn't really matter, but these old Assassin's Creed games, I actually enjoyed these. So yeah, for a couple of bucks. These ones we're going to be selling for $6 or $7. I believe it's going to be $7 a piece, and then these are also going to be buy 3 get 1 free. So yeah, that's pretty good right there. This one's a little bit more roughed up, but a little less common to see. But this is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So Turtles games are typically kind of fun. If you just want to have a good time and do some couch co-op, these are usually a lot of fun, these type of games. So I haven't played that one. We have Fallout 3 as our last game. This is the Game of the Year edition. Kind of goes real well there. This is also backwards compatible, and of course everything's got all of its discs and everything, and they're actually in really, really good shape, except for the case on a couple of them are a little bit rough. So yeah, not a bad pickup. Now you might be thinking, hey Chris, why were you saying that this is especially good? Well, when you math it all out, it cost me $3.33 for each game, and that one is 20 bucks right there. So overall, that's half the cost of all of them just by itself. So yeah, we did really good on these. So at $3.33, and let's say you sell, what was it, 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, right? So these are going to be the more expensive ones. So for 4 games, if I get $36 for these, right? First off, that covers pretty much everything. We're just a couple dollars short. And there's plenty of margin there. There's plenty of wiggle room. I could very easily do buy 3, get 1 free at 36. Now, I'm not always expecting to get deals quite this good, but I just wanted to point out, if you go to your local pawn shop and just wheel and deal, make some bundles, in reality, I was wanting to do, they have them for $5 a piece, the PS4 and Xbox Ones, and I just walked in, I was like, if I do 5, if I get 5, can you do that for 20? So basically I was trying to see if they'd throw 1 in and do $4 a piece, and the dude just kind of had his math kind of backwards or something, and he just rang them up this way. I had to take a couple games out to make it work, but hey, that was awesome for the first pickup of the day, just at the local pawn shop. All right, so next up, this is the deal that I mentioned in the last video, where we get the N64, we got 4 games. We got Cruis'n USA, which is a staple, the Scooby-Doo game, which I'm going to keep for my kids because they really like Scooby-Doo. Then we have the Namco Museum game, so I guess it's just a lot of old Namco games, and then we have Disney's Tarzan. So of these are basically common games. This one's like super, super common, real cheap. Not a lot of value so much in the games. Scooby-Doo does run a little bit over 20 bucks, so that one's actually pretty good. But we got the console, we got 2 Atomic Purple controllers. Unfortunately, this one right here, there's too much wobble on that one. So that one I can't sell. This one's okay though, so this one's pretty good. So we're good on that front. I have not checked to see if we have the expansion pack. Let's see if we got some extra gold here. We do. All right, so we got the expansion pack on this one. So that does pump up the value a little bit more. So kind of makes up for the controller a little bit. So now we have, since starting to collect just over a week ago, about a week and a half ago, we now have 3 N64 consoles, which is awesome. It's really good. N64s, one of the big ones that I wanted to collect for, and this one I just traded some PC parts that I had laying around. So yeah, good deal. So continuing with our N64 theme, the last pickup of the day was a huge N64 game lot. So this guy had this up last week, and he actually went through all the work of putting up the price charting numbers right in the description. The total came out to being $411 when he did it. And I spot checked him on especially the more valuable ones, and he was right. He wasn't lying. So he was being honest. He had it up, I think, for $320 or $350. Like he was trying to get pretty good value there. And then I saw he reposted today for $250. So I'm like, okay, this guy's motivated to go. Or it was yesterday. Yesterday or today. Can't really remember, but either way, so he was clearly motivated to sell these. So I was like, 200, I have cash, I'll just come and get them right now. So obviously he countered at 225, he met me in the middle, and then I played the, well, I gotta go to the ATM, will you just do 220 card to knock that extra 5 off? And of course he's not gonna worry about $5. And to be honest, I thought I was going to have to go to the ATM. So I wasn't quite fibbing, but that is a little tactic you can use if you want to knock off that last 5 and get to a nice round number. So anyways, let's go through what we got here. So for $220 flat, what did we get? Well, we got a lot of sports games, and obviously they're not super valuable, but he did account for that. Obviously, he priced them accordingly. But let's start here, and we'll kind of move on. So we got NBA courtside. I've actually, Kobe Bryant's NBA Courtside. Of course, he did this, so I'm going to have some fun trying to get all that off. But anyways, not super valuable, but hey, if somebody might be into it. Now there we go. This is a staple. This is a game that's going to be highly desired and sought after. So Banjo-Kazooie, that's a great one. Not highly desired, Madden 64. Also not highly desired, Madden 99. Although I did have this as a kid, so it's kind of nice to have. And these are so cheap, I'm just going to hang on to those. Let the kids play with those. Then we have Rush 2. This is another racing game that I've never played. I'm assuming it's a racing game. Certainly seems that way. So yeah, this might be worth checking out just to see what it is. And then we got Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. All right, so I like these colored cartridges. They just look pretty cool. So yeah, so we got that guy right there. And then you got to play this game. To me, this is not a very valuable game, but this is a game you need on your N64. So many hours playing this with my friends. WCW NWO Revenge. This was a lot better than the original, which is also in there somewhere. It's right there. But yeah, I really like this one. This is a really fun game. Good memories on that one. Fox Sports. So Fox tried to make some money. College Hoops 99. Off the top of my head, not really sure what this is going for. Never played it. I'm not really a big basketball guy. Although the one basketball game that I will play is in here. Then we have Wayne Gretzky's 3D Hockey, which is kind of cool. Hockey games are surprisingly fun. I don't play them very often, but when I do, I usually have a pretty good time. So I might just give that a try. Yeah, there it is. Star Fox 64. You really can't have an N64 without one of these. The battle modes, and this is just a fantastic game. I was playing this on the channel not too long ago. I was saying, hey, I'm playing Star Fox 64, and people are like, what are you doing playing that? It's an awesome game. That's why. Then we got Army Men Sarge's Heroes 2. I think I rented this when I was a kid. Can't really remember it too well. Might be worth double checking. And then Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 with the blue cart. So we're getting our rainbows going. I like it. Here, we'll just move on to this one. This is a short stack. So we got ourselves another Star Wars Pod Racer. This one doesn't have like a label on there, a sticker. Now I do have to try to get those stickers off, but yeah, so I might keep that one. And then Turok Dinosaur Hunter. This is one of the few N64 games that I still have. Surprisingly enough, this seems to be going up in value. So last I checked, these were going for like $15. And the last time I checked before that, they were like $8. So these seem to be getting more and more valuable. Then we got another big one here, the Donkey Kong 64, which really works well with that expansion pack we just found in that other N64. So yay, it worked out. So this is a pretty fun game. I had a lot of fun with this as a kid. There's a lot of people that don't like it because it's like the ultimate collect-a-thon, but I don't worry about being a completionist. Then we have Diddy Kong Racing. So it's not Mario Kart, but it's still really fun. A lot of people will argue that this is better than Mario Kart. I would say that they're just kind of similar, but they're different types of games. You can get pretty deep into this, but yeah, my brother and I had a lot of fun with this game. My brother was way better at it than I was. FIFA 98. Yeah, I'm not a soccer guy. And this is one that I obviously paid close attention to when I saw this listing, and I was like, why is he asking so much money? This was actually cut off on the picture. It was like on the side, and I was like, oh, okay, now it's starting to make sense. So we got another Zelda, and then NBA Jam 99. So NBA Jam is probably the only basketball game I'm going to play, so kind of glad to have that. Then we have Rampage 2 Universe Tour. I had Rampage 1 World Tour on the N64 growing up. So I had Rampage 1 World Tour on the N64 growing up. Now apparently this is actually reasonably valuable. Kind of makes sense. I didn't know there was a Rampage 2. It was probably just kind of a limited run sort of thing, and probably didn't do the best. I don't know. I enjoyed the first one though. Then we have WCW versus NWO, the first one. Blast Corps. This is a heck of a lot of fun. This is great. Effectively, you just destroy stuff. So a tanker with a nuke or something doesn't touch anything. This is a very, very, very hard game. Once you get to the later levels, I think there was one level I just couldn't beat. I just got stuck every time I tried replaying it. But It's a lot of fun until I get to that level. Off-Road Challenge. So this is just a more modern version of Off-Road. I've never played this particular one, but I remember Off-Road on the NES. That's where I played a lot of Off-Road. Might be worth checking out. And we have 1080. This wasn't really my speed, but a lot of my friends and my brother really liked this one. So snowboarding game, you do all sorts of tricks and stuff. A lot of people like this game. This is definitely a game that would easily move. And we have Griffey. This is actually kind of funny because one of the other N64 games that I still have is the Ken Griffey Jr., the other one, not this one. So now I have both of the Ken Griffey Jr. baseball games. Arguably the best baseball games ever made, mostly because of its drafting system. So many nights just hanging out with my buddy, just drafting players. Like, I would always go for the pitching team. He would always go for the hitting team. So I'd do whatever it took to get all of the best pitchers in the game. He would end up getting all the best hitters. And we just kind of screwed everybody out by trading them a lot of junk. But it was a lot of fun. And we would do that instead of actually playing the game a lot of the time. All right, and then the most valuable game of the lot. Surprisingly enough, I did have this as a kid, and that is Earthworm Jim 3D. And this one right here is going for about $62, somewhere around there. Surprisingly enough, this is worth more than Ocarina of Time. And it's up there with, I think, what was the other one? Majora's Mask. So this, surprisingly enough, is pretty much the big one. So I'm probably going to end up selling this, even though I did enjoy this game as a kid. I think I will probably end up selling this one off to help cover some of the costs. So yeah, it's a tough game, but it's a valuable one. So that's a pretty good pickup that we have. So that adds a lot of games. Now that we have quite a few N64s to sell, we can pair it with some games, and we can start selling some of this stuff and turning a profit. So, alrighty guys, that's it for here today. I'll check in with you tomorrow with any updates. Alrighty guys, so it is now Friday the 14th of December 2023. And we got ourselves a few pickups here today. So, this one is another trip to the trusty pawn shop. So, if you saw yesterday, which I guess this will all be one video, so I'm assuming you did. This is the same chain of pawn shops where I got the 12 games for $40. I got a lot of PS4 and Xbox One games, which are a little bit more valuable. Typically, they do $3 for like Xbox 360 and PS3 on back for games that are not labeled, meaning they're not priced individually. And then $5 on PS5 and Xbox One. But I worked out a deal where we were doing 4 for $10 on these guys, and then 5 for $20 on these guys. Now, this particular branch of the pawn shop, they wouldn't quite honor that. But what they did instead was they gave me all of these for $3, and then I still had to pay $3 for these guys. Yeah, not quite as good of a deal. And of course, they're still doing the $1 Blu-rays, so I actually stocked up some more on those. I actually bought a lot of the movies that I've already sold because I actually have a guy who's like, hey, I wish I could have gotten X, Y, or Z, so I just picked up the ones that they had again that I already sold. So anyways, let's go ahead and see what we got here. So starting off with the Xbox One, we got Shadow of Mordor. I like this game. This is actually one of my favorite games of the 8th generation. And yeah, this is a pretty good game. I think we could sell in the cheaper bin, the $6 or $7 bin once we get that set up. And then same thing with Shadow of War. It's not a particularly valuable game, but once again, this is a game I think will move pretty quick at the right price. Tomb Raider, kind of the same deal. And then I picked up Terraria. So I actually didn't check what the value is on the Xbox. I'm not expecting it to be too much. But yeah, I just figured I'd pick it up because it's a popular game and seeing it physically is pretty cool. I didn't even know they had a physical release. Then for PS4, we picked up Dishonored 2, Limited Edition. What's really cool about this one is it's brand new sealed. Now, even though it's sealed, it's still not really worth a whole lot of money, but it's about a $10 bill. So that's pretty good for what, $367 that we paid? Not too bad. So this I'll obviously charge a little bit more for. So this will go into the more expensive bin once we get up and running. So moving on to the Xbox and PS3, Xbox and Xbox 360s are in here. So Halo is a great game. This is something like if anybody comes in, they want to pick up an Xbox, they're going to want this. So Halos, I'm on the lookout for. Kind of the same thing with like an Xbox 360. More than likely, they're going to want Mass Effects. So I picked up a bunch of Mass Effects, Mass Effect 2, Mass Effect 3. I got another Borderlands 2. I've talked about this game before. This is just a hell of a lot of fun, especially on console, doing split screen with some friends. So yeah, that's good. Fable 3, this is another console staple for the Xbox 360. This one's not really that great, but I don't have one of these for sale yet, so I'm like, all right, might as well. Apparently it's not for resale, but we got it anyway. Mass Effect 1, Fable 2. Once again, these are just staple games. Then I picked up this dirty copy of Halo 4. Definitely not one of the best Halo games. I would argue it's the best 343 Halo game. Also, this game looks absolutely insane for an Xbox 360 game. So we might check this out in a live stream just because I've talked about that many times before, how ridiculously good this looks for a game console from 2005 with only 512 megabytes of shared RAM. It's actually kind of nuts. All right, so scooching these guys out of the way. Let's move on to PS3. So same sort of thing. I'm just going for games that I think that people would want if they come in and pick up a console, or that they would just, want. So the Batman games, definitely. So we have the Game of the Year edition, of Batman Arkham City. That's a great game. Borderlands 1, same kind of thing as Borderlands 2. Assassin's Creed. This is actually a lot of fun, and it runs well on console. On PC, you got to kind of jigger around with it to get the controllers working. So, honestly, most of the time when I play it, I just play it on console anyway because I don't have to screw with it. Dragon Age 2. This is kind of looked down upon. I actually enjoy this game. I had a lot of fun with it. It's, you're kind of... The locations do not vary very much, but it's still a good game. I enjoyed it. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. Batman Arkham Origins. And then Bulletstorm. Yeah, limited edition. This is a pretty silly game. If you like first-person shooters and you haven't tried it, you should probably check that out. It's just goofy fun. Even though the language is a little weird. There's a lot of cursing, which is fine, but it's the way they curse. They make up their own curses. It's really kind of strange. And then look at what we got here. Looky. Good old Wolfenstein 2009. Now, once I saw this, I'm like, I'm going to get that. It's not labeled. It's not marked. I'll get it at the cheapo rate. So this game is kind of in limbo. You can't get it on PC digitally anywhere. You can still get the physical version. I have the physical version, and I cracked it. So, it's not a big deal for me. But for a lot of people, you just can't get your hands on these. A lot of people aren't going to really screw around with the PC version. So console is probably the way to go. So here on the PS3, these are going for about $15. So that's a 5Xer on our money. So that one's actually really good. I knew that would be worth a little bit because of the fact that it's kind of locked to the 7th gen consoles for the most part. And no backwards compatibility with the Xbox or any of that. So yeah, it's not the best game in the world, but it's good fun. And then moving on over to Blu-rays. Kind of the same thing that we've been doing, picking up kind of popular titles. So Harry Potter, Order of the Phoenix, Role Models. I already had this. It's already sold, so grabbed another one. Let's Be Cops. This movie is hilarious. My wife loves this movie. We may end up keeping it because it's just funny. So you should definitely watch that. Speaking of another funny movie, Kingpin. I'm like, it's not going to be worth anything, but this movie's awesome. So anybody with good taste, they'll want to pick that up. So I got that. Batman vs. Superman Ultimate Edition. Well, this already sold, so I picked up another one. Then we got Ash vs. Evil Dead, the complete first season. If you're really big into Evil Dead stuff, this is... it's okay. I liked the show. I wouldn't say that it was great, but it's just more Army of Darkness, if you're in the mood for more. And yeah, I enjoyed it, but it's not really worth anything, unfortunately. But I got it for, $1, so who really cares? Now, this is what's really nuts to me, is that this triple pack is not really worth anything. Usually, multi-packs like this have a higher value attached to them, but you get all three of the real Matrix movies. We don't count the new one, it doesn't exist. In reality, I don't count any of them except for that one. But hey, for most people, these are real Matrix movies. I figure somebody's definitely going to want to pick that one up. I'm actually going to charge a little bit more because it's 3 movies. And I think most people would think logically that that would make sense. Got another Guardians of the Galaxy. Once again, that already sold. Another Fight Club, because that already sold. And now we're getting into these guys. So these guys I picked up, not so much because they'll move quickly, although I think Django probably will. But these are sealed for $1. Sealed Blu-rays for $1. So Django, this is actually going pretty good over on eBay. Maybe I'll throw up a little card. I think it's like $10 or something. So that's not too bad, especially since it's new. That won't go down in value. It'll pretty much just hold. Fences. I don't know anything about this movie, but it's got Denzel in there. And the other Denzel Washington movie that I picked up, The Debaters, that one's quite valuable. So I picked it up. This one's not really worth anything special, but it's new sealed. So once again, that's good. And then The Paperboy. This looked kind of interesting. It looks like it's a very prestigious movie. Once again, not very valuable, but hey, whatever. Somebody will pick it up. And then, of course, next to Ash vs. Evil Dead, I saw this, and I was like, oh, cool. Evil Dead 1 and 2. This is the good one, by the way. Not so much. That one's hilarious. If you like Army of Darkness, you'll like Evil Dead 2. Perhaps not the first one. Anyways, this one kind of shocked me. So I jumped online, and the lowest priced one right now is $22. So I was like, whoa, there we go. We hit another banger. So we got another winner on our hands. So I got, I think, like 13 or 14 movies in total. So this guy right here selling that one off will cover the cost of all the Blu-rays, just moving this one. And then the rest of them will do for like $3 to $5 and get rid of those. Like I said, I got buyers on some of them already, which is pretty cool. So yeah, that was a pretty good pickup. We got two things that are reasonably valuable considering what we paid for them. And then the rest of them, like I said, they're kind of common games, but they're really good. And same thing with the movies. It's just easy to sell, stuff that I could put a low price tag on and just kind of get gone. All right, so we did some more running around, and we went to the flea market that I went to. It's a very large flea market by us. There was a decent portion that I didn't check out, so I was like, hey, let's go ahead and check that out here today. Unfortunately, it's a giant section where there's a whole bunch of nothing. So I literally didn't miss much the last time I was there. However, our buddy, he restocked a little bit. Our buddy with the $1 games, and he had more, but it was like all sports games. Rainbow Six Vegas, this is actually a fun game. I do like this game. This and like the Advanced Warfare games, they probably get a bad rep. It's not like today's Ubisoft games. This is back in like the heyday of Ubisoft. This is really good. It's like part tactical shooter, part Gears of War. I really like it, and for $1. Once again, this is just going to kind of be a cheapo game that we're going to sell off in the cheap bin, but for $1, my margins are going to be way better on this than, you know, let's say those guys, because I paid $3 for those or something versus $1. So it's just a little bit more margin for me. And then this one right here, I got to give a shout out to my wife. She picked this up. This is a tip that I found online. I've been watching a couple of guys out there that are kind of doing something similar, and they're like, keep an eye out for board games, especially new in box sealed board games. So new in box sealed, these board games are, see, it's got the seam. Like over here, I'm like, is that legit? Is that a real thing? But yeah, like the fake ones, the re-shrink wrap ones don't really have that. So yeah, this is a new in box game. It was coming up at $10, and luckily it actually came in to $5. So they're running a lot of specials right now. So we got this for $5, and I'll throw up the eBay listing. My wife was saying they're selling for $25 to $30. So yeah, we got it for $5, and if it's going for $25 to $30, this will cost a little bit more to ship. This probably cost about $10. So if we're in it for $15 and we can get $30 out of it, that's still pretty good. It's $15 profit. Covers the gas for going. Unfortunately, like I said, I wish this guy had a whole stack of games, but obviously if he was that popular, everybody would be taking them. But every time I've gone here lately, so was that twice within like a week or two, he's had something. We've gotten 4 games from him for $4. I can't be mad at him. So I really like this guy. The rest of the booths there, unfortunately, I kind of picked them clean, and so did pretty much everybody else. So, alrighty, guys, that'll do it for here today. That's all we got. So, I mean, that's a pretty good haul. All in all, I think we're in it for what? This was $76 for all of that. And then I think this was, I'll put the correct numbers down below. And we got $1 plus 5, so another $6. So just over $80 for all of that. That's not too bad. And considering that's 1/4 the value right there. And then this guy, basically these two together, that's $50 back. And then we got all the rest to make up the difference. So we're doing pretty good. It's a good day. Alrighty, guys, today's video is going to be a short one. We are in my kitchen, so it's going to be a little bit more echoey. But I am showing you the most disgusting N64 I have ever seen. Probably the most disgusting piece of technology I have ever seen. So obviously it's not so bad right now, but I had to scrub this thing in this little pan using some Dawn affiliate links down below to go ahead and get it clean. So I'm gonna pop up a picture. I didn't take a video, but I took a picture of how gross this was. It was infested with these little bugs. It looked like little termites or cockroaches or something. There was even a bullet inside of here. So luckily, if we take a look at the board, it's actually not in bad shape. I'm gonna come over here, put it under the light. So it's not too bad. There's a little bit of corrosion. It's not, perfect or anything. But yeah, we were able to get this cleaned up pretty good. Looks like everything should be intact still. But yeah, I had to literally use water on the board, which you can do, by the way. As long as there's no electricity going to electronics, you are safe to use water. Just do not plug any electricity into it until it's 100% dry. So I stole my wife's hairdryer and hit it with that, and we're going to let it sit on this towel, and we're going to let it dry for 24 hours. Now, with like plastics and stuff, that's obviously not a problem. Had to do the metals and everything. It smelled disgusting. So even after scrubbing it, I had to go ahead and hit it with the good old Febreze. Do the Febreze here. Febreze ad. There we go. We'll go that way. Come on down. There it is. So affiliate links down below for that as well. And yeah, so this was really gross. That's what I pretty much did today. Not too much else. I tore down another N64. That one wasn't too bad, just blew out dust. A little bit of cleaning. It's a good idea to take out this guy if you're doing N64s. I think you can do the same thing with Super Nintendos and Nintendos as well. These just pull out. This is the cartridge slot. And make sure on the motherboard, you go. You clean the contacts. Like, that just helps out immensely. On most systems, you just need some compressed air, a little bit of alcohol, and some Q-tips. Not on this one. Even the power supply housing had to be scrubbed with water. So I just wanted to give you a quick heads up. That's what I did today. It was really gross. And yeah, good thing I know what I'm doing. If you're going to get into this business, and unless you test everything, literally everything before you take it, it's a good idea to know how to tear all these systems down and give them a good cleaning. So, alrighty, guys, I'll update you tomorrow. Probably not too much. We have a Christmas party. Perhaps I'll skip, but I'll let you know if there's any updates tomorrow. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sunday. Alrighty, guys, so now it's the moment of truth. So if you saw, obviously, yesterday's part, if you haven't, just go back, because these will all be part of the same video. I'm still getting used to that. But anyways, this was the Bullet and Bug Edition N64. I got it all cleaned up. She is pretty pristine. I just noticed this one little spot here. I'll hit that with a magic eraser, but it's all clean. It does not smell anymore, which is wonderful. So the trick to that was, rubbing alcohol and all the rest of that did pretty good. I actually had to hit it with some Febreze. That was actually the key trick. Hit it with Febreze, kind of let it soak in, hit it with a heat gun, and now it smells all nice and flowery. So we're going to go ahead and see if this thing actually works. This is why we're using Madden 99 for testing and not Mario 64, just in case if anything happens to go wrong. So, alrighty, guys, moment of truth time. Can we save this N64 from the bullet and bug death that it was headed towards? There it is. There it is. We got us some Madden. Let's make sure. We'll test it out. Yeah. All right. We're looking good. Awesome. So these things are built like tanks. I'm not going to lie. After ripping these guys apart here lately, this is probably the most impressive piece of technology I have ever seen. The engineering on this is amazing. It's passively cooled. The heat sinks are excellent. It's very easy to maintain, get in there, and clean stuff up. And obviously it's very, very resistant to a lot of stuff. Unlike modern day consoles and PCs and stuff, they're very, very fragile. They would not have survived this, but these older consoles, they're built like tanks, man. So let's see. It's working fine. Okay, controller's working, everything's working. Beautiful. Alrighty, guys. So we saved her from the grave. The Bug and Bullet Edition N64 lives on. Alrighty, guys. Today was a big day. So the trade went through for the gaming PC, and this is what we got. We're actually missing a few things that were supposed to be in the deal and may still come to fruition. But anyways, taking a quick look, we got 2 GameCubes. We got a silver one and a black one. Nintendo Wii. Got some Wiimotes there. PlayStation 1, which is questionable. We have a PlayStation 2 Slim that is dead. This one's just not going to work out. So we'll get rid of that one. This one, however, seems to be in good shape. So we got 2 of them. This one's actually looking pretty good. We have the smoke-colored N64, and it's got the expansion pack, which is really excellent. Let me get rid of this junky PlayStation. We got a Wii Fit board. That's always fun. We got a PS3 Slim. This is one of the consoles that I think is going to be very valuable in the not too distant future. There's a lot of games that are locked to this particular system, so I'm very glad to get this one. I like this better than the fat ones. These are easier to work on. They don't have the backwards compatibility with PS2, so they are less valuable. Just overall, they're just easier to deal with. So on top of that, there are also not just 1, not just 2, but 3 original NES consoles. So that's pretty good right there. We have a giant box. I have not gone through this completely. I was just kind of digging through a little bit. Giant box full of controllers and cables and all of that. So I'll have to try to pair these consoles up with what goes with them. But inside of there, we hit some gold. Now, if you haven't noticed, everything's a little dirty. These were in a storage locker for quite some time. So on this Wavebird right here, so if you don't know, these are wireless GameCube controllers. We have 1 receiver that I found, 1 battery cover. So this is 1 complete setup right there. This one missing the cover, and I haven't found the receiver. These are going for about $70-ish for the set. Even like this, it's probably like $30. I'll probably go ahead and see if I can get a new thumbstick for this. Those are usually pretty easy to put on. And obviously everything's gonna need to be cleaned. So on the console side, that's what we got. So for you PC guys out there, I traded an old X99 system. So I'll throw up a picture here. It had a 5960X CPU in there. So that's 8 core, 16 threads, 32 gigs, Samsung B-Die. We had Asus X99-A motherboard in there. And what else did we have? 2 terabyte NVMe and an RTX 3070. And we got all these consoles, and we also got games. So let's go take a look at the games. So I've kind of sorted them out a little bit. So he obviously had a lot of PlayStation 3. So these ones right here, these are CIB. That means they have the manuals and discs and everything. These ones are missing manuals. And then we have a little pile over here where we have boxes where the games do not match. So that's not super awesome. We have the GameCubes, which that's a good one right there. That's part of the reason why I took the deal. And Mario Party 4 is also pretty good, but the Mario Party 6 is a very good one. Luckily, that one's CIB and that one's not. That's the better way to go. For PlayStation 2, we had a SOCOM. Now, we have some empty boxes as well. I thought that this would be in there. I actually never played this, and I want to. So I was very disappointed in that one. anybody can tell me what this Skyrim is, it's missing the game disc, so I have no idea what platform this is for. It has the bonus disc, which is a Blu-ray. I'm assuming PlayStation 3, but I honestly couldn't tell you. I don't know. But if I could just throw a Skyrim disc in there and then we have like some collector's edition, that'd be really cool. Now this one broke my heart, boys. I saw this in the box. He's actually missing that PlayStation, but I saw this and this. And I was like, that's fine. We're pretty much even between that, so that'd be okay. But no, these two are missing. Actually, a lot of the GameCubes are missing. This one's missing. That's not that big of a deal. Same thing with this. Not a big deal. Yeah, that's really not a big deal. I could use the case, though, so I'm fine with that. Sonic, I kind of wish that was in there. That would have been good. And then we have some empty Wii cases. I'm not losing sleep over those. But those two Zelda games would have been really nice. However, the boxes alone are worth a good bit. Now, this one does not have the manual. Oops. All right, let me see if I can do this. We're on shaky ground. Anyways, no manual on this one, so it's a little bit less valuable, but box only, this is still $40. And then this one does have the manual. It'll likely be about another $40. So it's still worth it to get the boxes. But yeah, it would have been nice had those been in there, because that would have been a lot better. Okay, so on the PlayStation 3 games, most of these are pretty common. Like, these are popular games. These are the types of games that I'm trying to pick up. We do have one game in here that is a little bit more valuable. And just for you guys out there, let me see if I can find it. I think it's down here. Oh, it's kind of hard to do looking like this. No. There it is. Okay, so if you run across this, the Black Ops and Black Ops 2 combo pack, that is a bit more valuable than your average game. These are going for like $20, $25 on either PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360. So those are definitely worth picking up if you can find them. So that's a little bit more than the rest of the stack. And then these guys right here, like I said, those do not have the manuals. We did get the other Spyro on the Wii. I picked up the other Spyro game the other day, so I now have all the Spyros. And then, yeah, I'm not really a big fan of Cabela's Big Game Hunter, but yeah, we got that. Okay, so for the Xbox 360s, most of these were complete. Same sort of thing, not really super popular, or, well, they're popular, but not really valuable games. A couple of them are not CIB. Got some PlayStation games, nothing too crazy. Tony Hawk's pretty good. Knockout Kings is actually pretty good. Bass. Got a Jump Pack. Those are cool, but really not valuable. Tekken 2. Oop, I'm going to drop stuff. NASCAR 2001. And what do we got? Need for Speed. So, not too bad on that one. Now, the Super Nintendo games were light. He says that he has a Super Nintendo somewhere. Maybe that'll show up. Maybe he might find it while he's on Christmas vacation, but who knows. The X-Men Mutant Apocalypse game, though, this is running around $18. That's not too bad. We got Mario Paint, which if you don't have the mouse, which, I don't know, maybe it's in the bin, that's a Nothing Burger, and then NBA Live, Nothing Burger. But X-Men's pretty good. We got a thing full of loose PlayStation 2 games. We got Ratchet & Clank Going Commando. I don't think I'm going to be able to sell this. Yeah, there you go. There you go. You can probably see why. I'll check the value. If it's worth $3 getting resurfaced, I will. But otherwise, I'll probably just donate that, give it away. And then we got a bunch of games in here. These are pretty popular. I'll just throw them in like a sleeve or something, and you know, maybe charge like $2 a head for these or something. Nothing too crazy because they don't have the boxes, no manuals, no nothing. And then moving on over to the NES. This is where things got pretty good. So I think we'll save the big one. I'm not going to go through all the games, but this is one of the reasons why I made this deal happen. I mean, that's pretty good reason too. But here, I'll just throw it back on top. When I saw that, I was like, oh, well, okay then. So this is a very rare NES game. These are going loose like this for about $100, $110. So that's a very valuable game right there. It's actually the first game way back when in like 2010 or 12 when I was thinking about doing this. I was like, all right, I was making my list. This was on the if you see it, you pick it up list. And now we have it. So that's really awesome. And there's a couple other games in here with some value. Chip 'n Dale, Mario 3. Mario 2, which is pretty good, but we have a cracked case, so that's probably not going to go for a whole lot. If I can clean it up, maybe glue it or something, make it a little less obvious, maybe we'll get something halfway decent out of it. But there's a lot of good games in there, a lot of Marios and stuff like that. So all of this was traded for a 5960X, 32 gigs of RAM. He really didn't care that it was B-die. You and I both know that that's actually a pretty good value right there, but it could have been cheap stuff and he would have been fine. 2 terabyte NVMe, Gen 3, and an RTX 3070. Basic case. Decent power supply, but nothing super crazy. 850 watt bronze, semi-modular. That, my friends, we have inventory now. So with this added on to that, in addition to what I picked up, the other stuff I picked up here today, I think we're finally at the point now where it's time to, well, first off, clean. You know, we saved that N64 yesterday, so he's still going. I think we can save most of these. That one PlayStation 2, I'm pretty sure, is gone. The PS1 is having some issues with the latch. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. This actually looks like it's in great shape, so I'm not worried about that at all. The GameCube seem okay. They just need to get cleaned out. They're a little dirty, but they actually seem okay as well. And then NES consoles, much like the Super Nintendo, if you put in the elbow grease, you can definitely save those. Those will never die unless they're completely rusted out on the inside. All right, so score number 2 of the day was actually a Facebook Marketplace deal. A lady was selling 12 Xbox 360 games for 25 bucks. I was like, well, that's not too bad. It's $2 a pop. It's a little bit less than I'm spending. She was up front. We got Gears of War 3. Inside is actually Black Ops 2. That's actually okay because Black Ops 2 is way more valuable than Gears of War 3. Unfortunately, I don't have an extra box for it. Would have been cool if that was one of the empties that we got. But, hey, that's okay. I'm all right with that. That didn't stop the deal. She did let me know up front that was a thing. So, Fable 3, staple game. These are very clean, by the way. These are very, very clean. These were pretty well cared for. So I'm very happy with this. This is cheaper than I've been getting these things for. Fable 3 is a good one. Halo Wars. Once again, it's another staple game for the system. Chrome Hounds. I looked this up. It's not very valuable. Looks kind of cool. I don't know. You guys can let me know if you guys are really interested in like the World of Tanks stuff. This one. Yeah, that one was feeling light. Okay, so no manual on that one. Separate that one out. Fable 2. Best game in the series. If you haven't played this, play it. It's definitely worth picking up a cheapo Xbox. It is landlocked to the Xbox, or the Xbox 360, Xbox One. It's backwards compatible, but you need an Xbox console to play this, or emulation. But make sure you do so. Do yourself a favor. Darksiders 2. Darksiders is a great series. There's always a sports game, guys. I'm going to actually check the sports games that I got because I know some of them are valuable. These are none of them that are on my radar, but you never know. Oh, I was just checking. I heard the plastic. I was like, is this sealed? Civil War, Nation Divided? Never heard of it. History Channel, the video game. Alien versus Predator. So this one's got a little bit of value on it. I forgot exactly what it is. I'll throw it up down below. Checking it out. It is complete. So I know that one's actually going for a little bit more than I was expecting. This is a pretty fun game. I really liked it. It's not, the best game ever, but you get to play as aliens, predators, and colonial marines and run around killing stuff. So that's about all I want out of an AVP game, personally. All right, and then we got a chewed-up version of Soul Calibur 4. This one's in a little bit rough shape. Now, it looks like they went to GameStop for a lot of these, so it's possible that they got it this way. We can fix the box, but it is missing some cover art. It's not that big of a deal, just because this isn't a very valuable game. All right, so this was another kind of surprise to me. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. So when I went to check this out, this is actually going for quite a bit. My guess is because it was the last game in the series, a lot of people kind of checked out by then, and there probably weren't as many of these. So this disc alone is actually pretty decent. Compared to, you know, like a complete in box Halo Wars or something, this is actually way more valuable. So I was like, cool, that's a pretty good deal right there. All right, and then the reason why I took this deal and I jumped all over it and I didn't haggle, I just said, okay, here's your money. All right, so we got Dragon Ball Raging Blast. So I played several Dragon Ball games on the Xbox 360. This was not one of them. I've actually never even heard of this particular series. Apparently there is a sequel to this as well. But apparently the original is actually slightly more valuable than the sequel. Yeah, so this right now, thank goodness this one is complete. Checking it out. It's in great shape. So this guy right here is going for about $30 to $40. So we got all of these for $25. So selling that guy off is going to cover all of that, plus the gas money and time and just everything else. So that's really awesome. And that means I've got more common games for the shop that we're doing for absolutely free. So that was my thought process on the whole deal. All right, and it wouldn't be a day going out hunting unless I hit up the good old pawn shop. There's one on the way home after I got some dinner. I went and checked them out, and they had some stuff that seemed interesting. So once again, they're still doing the $1 Blu-rays. Took a shot on Narnia. This one I've never heard of, The Voyage of the Dawn Trader. I'm sorry, I'm reading through my phone. So this one I didn't see. I saw Narnia 1, 2... and then I think the third one. And then after that, like, they just didn't promote it well enough. So this one I didn't even know existed. This is a pretty common one, apparently. It's not a... We didn't hit any home runs on any of these guys here today, but I figured that'd do pretty well. We got the Sherlock Holmes, A Game of Shadows. I like these Sherlock Holmes movies, by the way. I liked both of them, but this is Steelbook. Steelbooks are usually worth a little bit more. So yeah, this guy, instead of being like at the $5 to $6 range, it's more in like the $8 to $9, maybe $10 range on eBay right now, so that's pretty good. The Goonies, this is gonna move. Somebody's gonna pick that up. That's what I did with most of these. Wonder Woman, you know, Civil War, the copy that I had already sold, so I grabbed another one. And same thing with First Class. Figured I'd grab another one because it sold pretty quick. All right, so nothing too exciting with the games. Except these are all sealed, and we got them all for $20. So all 5 games for $20. They're running about $10 a pop, new. Sounds about right. So there's really no reason in me discounting them or anything. They're new, sealed, and yeah, so pay for those and you get those free, or however you want to mix that up. That's a pretty good deal. Eventually, people will want these. You know, it's Game of the Years. This is limited editions. They might not be worth very much today. You know, if you stick them in a closet for 15 years, sealed, somebody's going to want it, and it's going to be far more valuable. But, yeah, I'll just try to unload them at 10 a piece. I think that's pretty fair for a brand new sealed game. Alrighty, guys, so it is now Wednesday, and I know after we got that giant lot of games, there's some of it I'm still going through. I said I was probably not going to be picking too much stuff up, and it was time to start selling. Well, we're still selling, which is actually pretty good. But this was a deal that was in the works before I got that big lot. In fact, I meant to trade the computer that I meant to trade the guy until I realized how valuable his lot was. Instead, we traded that computer to this guy. So what we got here is the limited edition Star Wars Xbox 360. And honestly, this is like the coolest thing ever. I think I'm actually going to keep this one and just sell the one that I have. I have just a plain black Xbox 360S Slim. But we got that. Comes with the Kinect bundle, or the Kinect sensor. We have the C-3PO Special Edition controller that goes with it. And unfortunately, he got us another controller. This is a Halo 3 limited edition controller. But that's pretty much screwed right there. I might try tearing it apart. I'll see how valuable these are. I know that these are probably worth a good bit. We're missing the battery pack, unfortunately, so that's another negative. If I can fix this, I should be able to buy one of those pretty cheap, assuming that it's worth it. But yeah, we'll have to see on this one. It feels like it's just dirty. I might be able to do something with that. All right, on top of that, we got some games. So, I forgot what this is. Oh, Army of Two. All right, so most of the games, this entire stack right here, I'm just going to show you guys. Those aren't too terribly valuable, so we're actually just going to kind of skip over those. He did leave out one notable game. I was a little upset about that. There's actually a Call of Duty, for visual aids, there's a Black Ops 1 and 2 combo pack that was supposed to be a part of this. Obviously, he had another Black Ops 2. But the combo pack is going for about 25 bucks. These are going for like 15-ish. So I was like, hey, what's going on? He's like, oh yeah, I forgot to bring that one. Luckily, I forgot to give him his power supply box. So he's missing some cables. So I have a little bit of leverage. It actually worked out. I forgot something, he forgot something. So hopefully I'll be able to get that. But if you guys forgot what the PC was, I forgot to mention that. I'll show you the picture here. It was an i7 6700K, Pony's Z170 Maximus Hero motherboard that he sent over with a 6600K a couple of years ago. 16 gigabytes, DDR4, 3200C16, like $30 RAM, 1 terabyte, Gen 3 NVMe, and what else did we have in there? 750 watt bronze semi-modular power supply, and a Rosewill Spectra D100 case with a $20 cooler. So with a Vega 56 Asus Strix as well. So not a very valuable computer. I valued it at about $550. So we traded it for all these games. The console right here, those are going complete or loose for 180. Complete in box, they're like 380. With all the bits, I'm saying probably about 200 bucks. I would say right there. Now, these are the more valuable games. All of these games in total, I'm looking to get about $140, $150 out of those. Nothing too crazy. Like I said, Black Ops 2, that's about 15 bucks. Transformers, this is about 15 bucks as well. GTA 5, that's about 10. Mortal Kombat Complete, this is actually a $20 game. Surprise, surprise. And then The Simpsons. This is the star of the show. This is one of the big ones that made me want to get it, besides the console. The console was the big one. This was the next thing. So I've actually never played this game, but these are going for $40 CIB. And there we go. We got it. So with this, that, and if we get that other game, we're sitting in total value here. We did the math before. I think it's somewhere around 450, somewhere in that neighborhood. Because if we do 150, 200, that's 350. And then you have 40, maybe around 500 with that other game if we get it. So yeah, that's not too bad. So we got about $500 in trade. Plus, we did $260 cash. So that was the deal. So instead of it being kind of a wash in terms of value, we're up about $200. Now, what we did with that $200 is pretty awesome. So let me show you what else we did today. So we were out of town, and I decided to visit the local pawn shop. They have the same chain that I've had good success with, and I decided to pop in there, see what they had. And they had a lot of games that are pretty cool. These aren't very valuable. Final Fantasy 15 Day 1 Edition. I kind of like it. It's got a holographic in there. You know, Borderlands, Doom, you know, awesome games on the cheap. Nightfire. This is a great game if you haven't played this, by the way. We Happy Few. I was like, oh, yeah, how much? Quantum Break. Well, neither one's particularly valuable, but I picked up some shovelware games. BioShock 2. It's an awesome game. Gears. At the price I got these for, I will take Gears all day. A lot of people be like, well, why would you pick these up? Because people like Gears of War, and there's a reason. It's actually a fantastic game. Project Snowblind. This is actually kind of an interesting one. I played this on PC, and it's a pretty good game, actually. A lot of people just kind of pass by it. Usually PC port games that are on PlayStation 2 are usually pretty valuable. This one, however, isn't. It was kind of a swing and a miss. Still kind of nice to have, though, so I'm not too worried about it. And then anytime I see like Naruto or Dragon Ball or something like that, it's usually worth picking up when you get it at the price that you, well, want to pay, which we'll go over here in a sec. So I picked that up, and that is, I think that's like a $10 or $12 game, so that's not too bad. This guy is about 10 bucks. This just look weird. Kind of a goofy looking game. I'd never seen this before, but I'm like, all right, we'll pick that up. Doom 3 BFG. This actually has a little bit of value. I think this is about a $10 game, so that's not too bad. And then Tomb Raider Anniversary on the Wii. I didn't even know this was a thing. So I was like, well, if I didn't even know it was a thing, it's probably worth a couple bucks. And it is. That's about 10 bucks. So what we were able to do here is get all of the older games, the let's put that over there. So all of the non-Xbox One, I didn't get any PS4s, but everything before Xbox One and PS4 generation, these were all $2 a piece. $2. That's pretty good. And then all of these guys, all the Xbox One games, we got these for $4 a piece. So that's not too bad. And we're going to put these up for sale for $8. And then I'm going to do buy 4 and for 27, I think. 27 or 28. I'm not sure yet. Now, the more expensive ones, like these guys, these are worth about 10. So those will be, actually, Naruto might be 15 or 12. So there's going to be a $6 category, an 8, a 10, a 12.50, and a 15. Those are going to kind of be my bulk pricing things, categories, and then there's going to be, you buy 3, you get 1. The 4th one's going to be discounted or free, depending on how I can work the math. So that's pretty much where all these are going to land. And the cherry on top was, I actually had a Mario 3 sitting there too. Believe it or not, 20 bucks isn't too bad. That's kind of close to going rate. So I was able to go ahead and get this for $16, which is really good. And if you guys remember, I have a whole bunch of, let's see, here we go. I have a whole bunch of NES consoles in there. I got 3 of them. So if I want to move those, the easiest way to do that is throw Mario 3 or a Mario 1 and a 3. Mario 2 is a little bit harder to come by. So, but anyways, you throw Mario games with it, they'll sell a little bit better. So for 16 bucks, I was pretty happy with that. These are going for 20 to 25. I'd probably put a $25 sticker on there, and if it goes for 20, that's fine too. So not too bad. That was a pretty good haul there. Like I said, I'm trying to pick up a lot of cheaper games because this is probably what's going to sell a lot. I'm not going to make tons of money, but there is plenty of margin there. And like I said, I think that that's what's going to sell quite a bit, at least for a while. And that'll just keep me funded and keep me going and keep people coming through the door. Hey, I want some cheap games. Let's see what you got today. And then we'll have some, higher dollar stuff for people that, want those games. Now, that was all $60 out the door, including taxes. So we got $260 plus all of that stuff, plus the Xbox from the guy, right? So we still had $200. We weren't done yet. We were not done yet. There was one more thing that came up here today, and it was a big one. So after all that running around and coming home, relaxing, eating dinner, about to bathe the kids, I checked the Facebook Marketplace. And what do I find? Oh, look at that. It's a Nintendo GameCube. And it's got a controller. Oh, it's got 4 controllers. 2 of them Nintendo branded, 2 of them GameStop. So only 2 of them actually matter. See, little GameCube, little dusty. Let's wipe that off. Hey, look at that. It looks a lot better. So, GameCubes actually apparently aren't that valuable anymore. The price seems to be dropping on those a lot. But that's not what really caught my eye. Controllers are good. Actually came with an extra power supply, which is useful. That's good. Lego. That was totally it. Oh, look at that. A Mario Sunshine. What? Smash? Oh, Double Dash, Mario Kart Double Dash with the bonus disc, or the demo disc. Oh, that's pretty good. Resident Evil Remake, the first one. I guess that's the only one, right? They haven't remade that one. Made that one. Luigi's Mansion. We got Crash and GoldenEye. So, all right, that was pretty good, especially, these guys. When I saw those 3, I was like, okay, cool, that's awesome. And this guy. So those 4 really caught my attention. GameCube, that's pretty cool. Memory card, Also cool. What was really impressive was all of that, 50 bucks, boys. $50. I had to drive 2 hours at 7 p.m. Tonight while I'm exhausted, after eating, while the babies are actually in the bathtub. But I see that come up for 50 bucks. And I said, I'll take it here tonight. I will drive 2 hours and come get it right now. And we got it. So this is an awesome find. We valued this one. This is coming in ballpark. I think it was like $420-ish, somewhere in that neighborhood. I only put like $10 on these GP controllers. The extra controller, 20 bucks. Extra power supply, 20 bucks. And then, you know, these go with that. Apparently, those are only $40 according to price charting right now. That seems a little low. I mean, in reality, that should be a minimum of $60. So I don't know what's going on with their thing. These were going for like 80 bucks pretty regular there for a while. I don't know. Maybe just somebody got a lot of them. We're selling them cheap. I'm not sure. But then you add in all the games. So absolutely huge haul. So going back to the original deal that we did. So we traded that very mediocre computer. Yeah, unfortunately, that wasn't part of it. That's just the empty case from the last video. Which hasn't sold yet. It's got a lot of viewers. It'll sell. So we did this. He gave us $260 plus all of that stuff. And we got all these games at the pawn shop for $60. That left us with $200. And then we got all of this right here for $50, which means we still have $150 left over. So we got 150 bucks plus all of that right there for one computer. One $550 computer. And yeah, so the reason why I'm really kind of harping on this is if you guys are interested in starting to get into this and maybe you don't have a lot of cash, if you can scrape together a mediocre computer, that's going to get you the funds that you really need to get started. You just got to trade it, wait for the right deal, and make it happen. And yeah, you can get going. This is enough to get started right here, guys. You start trading these guys up, you got yourself a real budget. Even if you just did this one, you know, the Xbox and everything, that's a pretty good deal. It's a lot of stuff to move. Even if you just had this, you could really get going. It would be real slow. But either one of these by themselves would be fine. Even the cash would be okay. 150 bucks, you can do a lot with that. So I just wanted to really highlight what is possible. You got to keep your eyes open. You have to get the deals when you find them. So if you really want to go out there, you want to hustle, you want to make a few bucks, you can do it. Anybody can do this. You just have to be on it. Alrighty, guys. So that's it for me here today. We'll see what happens tomorrow. I wasn't planning on, well, that was kind of planned. Was definitely not planning on this one. But if I ever see deals like that, I will drive pretty far to get those. So, alrighty, guys. Take care. Talk to you tomorrow. Alrighty, guys, so we got one more score before Christmas. So this one actually came up yesterday on the 22nd. I picked it up late last night. Didn't have time to record the video, but we're going to go ahead and do so now. So as you can see, we finally got ourselves some Wii games. I think people are figuring out that these are now hitting collectible status. So these seem to be drying up, at least in my area. But we're going to start with the Xbox 360 games, because this wasn't even a part of the deal. So the guy had some Mario games listed on Wii and some Sonic games. And I was like, I'll take all of those. Do you have anything else? And yeah, he actually had one other Wii game that I wanted. And then he's like, I got some 360 games if you're interested. I was like, okay, sure. So we got Left 4 Dead 2. So this is a backwards compatible title. This is a great game. Obviously, people are going to love that. That's about $15. Skyrim, the Legendary Edition. Unfortunately, this one is not complete. Let's see if I can open this one-handed. We are missing a manual. Looks like we might actually be missing a disc as well. So this one's kind of a swing and a miss. This was about 15 bucks if it were complete. I'd say if it's just the game disc, well, we're probably talking about like 6, you know, regular Skyrim prices. Then he had Halo 3. Believe it or not, I just haven't seen this around. So I have all the other Xbox Halo games except for this one. But ODST, Reach, Halo Wars, they're all kind of like super cheap. This one's actually one tier higher. This is going for like $8 to $10 regularly. So pretty good to pick that one up. It's not super valuable, but I actually needed it. Then you have this guy. So if you guys are out looking for Xbox 360, maybe you're not looking for 360, you're looking for other stuff, this is the one to look out for. This is pretty common. You'll find this pretty regularly. This should be the second or third one that I've run through. But these guys are going for about $25. Now, the reason for that is mostly Black Ops 2. Black Ops 2 is backwards compatible, and it's also seeing a resurgence on the 360 because, well, people are getting tired of the modern Call of Duties, and this kind of seems to be the one most of the community is gravitating towards. So that by itself is about $15. And then you throw in the Call of Duty Black Ops 1, the combo's going for about $25. So definitely pick those up. All right, so on to the more exciting stuff. So we got some Wii games, and there were some bonus prizes with this deal. So we got Mario Sports Mix. Believe it or not, this one is actually reasonably valuable. I forgot off the top of my head. I think it's like a $30 or $35 game. I was like, huh, I wouldn't have thought so. Smash Brawl, believe it or not, it's actually not that valuable. I think this is like 15 or so. Mario Strikers, also about 15. And then this is one that we added in, was Donkey Kong Country Returns. Solid title. This is like 15 as well. And then the Sonic games are all going for about $10 a pop. So not a whole lot there, but, you know, people like Sonic. And, you know, Sonic's good games. So I was like, I'll take these guys as well. Sonic Tennis. For some reason, I think that one's the valuable one for some reason. Secret Rings. And then there's Paper Mario. So this one's going for a little bit more. I think this is 20 or 25. And then, of course, you got to have Mario Galaxy. This is a staple. I haven't found one yet at a reasonable price, so I'm glad I was able to get at least one on hand. So I was pretty happy about that. Those are only about $15, but not too crazy. Now, these are the bonuses that were in the bag. These were not negotiated for. They were just there. So Smash Brothers Melee. If you guys remember, in the last update, we got ourselves a Smash. It did not have a manual. So now we have a complete Smash Brothers Melee. And then a new Super Mario Wii, just sitting in the bag loose. And these guys are about $25. So that in total is about $35 in value that I wasn't even anticipating, was not negotiated for. It was just thrown in there. So all in all, this haul came out to being, before these guys, around $190. So you throw those on, we're at about $225 in total value, roughly. They're in really good shape. Most of these are complete. Obviously, Skyrim's not really worth anything. So I'd say the $225 is pretty accurate. So we got all of these for $60. The entire lot was $60. That's why getting bonus stuff was just absolutely amazing. So this was another amazing haul. And we got it the same day, or I made the deal the same night as I got the GameCube and all the GameCube games. So that was definitely the best day that I have had so far in terms of finding value out there and getting some crazy deals.
So alrighty guys, if you made it this far, first off, thank you very much. Make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. And I want to thank you for sticking it out up until this particular point. These are long videos. Personally, I like long form videos. I could watch like one video over the course of a day. I know it's not everybody's kettle of fish, but if you guys did make it this far, you also saw all of the scores that we were able to find. Now, this could just be because it's the holiday season. People are going through, you know, digging stuff out, but usually people clean their homes in the springtime. That's usually when you would expect people to be going, oh, I don't need this box of video games. Let me go throw it up either in a yard sale or go ahead and just throw it up on Facebook Marketplace. But this particular season, the past couple of weeks, we have gotten some absolute bangers. Most of the big stuff is definitely, at least for me, coming off of Facebook Marketplace. That's an invaluable resource if you're going to be looking to get into this. You can find amazing deals. People just want stuff gone. The fact that I had to drive to some lady's house like an hour plus away at 7 p.m. So it was already pretty late for us. We go to bed, well, I don't go to bed, but the family goes to bed reasonably early. So that's pretty late for this household. But that was an amazing deal. $50 for all that GameCube stuff is an absolute steal. Now, normally I would have probably thrown her a couple extra bucks because of how valuable that was.
but I did have to drive 2 hours plus, that's 2 hours of my time plus gas. And it was late at night. And obviously, that was her price. I didn't haggle with her at all. That was her price, and I gave it to her. So I don't feel too bad about that. I did have to put in some work and some effort on my front, but still, she got exactly what she wanted. I didn't negotiate one bit. You want $50 for it? You got it. So that was an awesome one. And then the Wii deal that we just got, that was the most recent one. That was absolutely insane as well. And that dude was so nice. He was just like, I was like, how much for all? He was doing all the Mario games on Facebook for 20 and all the Sonic games for 20. And I was going to try to beat him up a little bit on the Sonic games, but I'm like, overall, you combine them, whatever, it's fine, right? I'll pay a little bit more for the Sonic games. They're less valuable, but they'll probably sell pretty fast. It's Sonic. People will want it. So I'm like, all right, it's fine. I wasn't going to do anything there. And then he's just like, hey, I got more games. And then I was just like, 60 for all. And so for 5 more games, I threw him another $20, which in his eyes, I guess he was pricing them for about $5 a piece. So for him, I actually overpaid on those a little bit, but totally worth it. That was another really, really good score. Plus the trade deal that we had. That's obviously a big consideration for this crowd. If you're looking to get into this, once again, if you have extra PC components, you could throw together like what would be considered an entry-level PC here today. People will trade a lot of stuff for that. This guy went to his multiple storage units and took out multiple bins, tubs of games and consoles and everything to trade for a PC. And while that deal is definitely, let's just put it this way, it's a little bit more difficult. The games are very dirty. They all require cleaning, case and disc. With the NES games, I had to take them all apart, clean the outsides, clean the insides. So it's a lot of work, a lot of effort. But still, we're probably looking at $1,600 in total value on all of the stuff. So that's about more than double what I valued the PC at. So you got to be willing to put in some elbow grease. This might have been a little too much elbow grease. In reality, I probably shouldn't have given him the better PC. He should have just got the one that I listed for $550 for this, because of the massive amount of effort that I'm having to put in to get all of these sellable. But anyways, there's a few bangers in there that have already moved. Dragon Warrior 4 is already sold. Got 110 on that one on eBay. So after fees, probably about $90-ish, maybe a smidge higher. The buyer also pays the shipping cost, so we take that out. But eBay and PayPal and all that, it usually comes out to being about 20%. Somewhere in that neighborhood. I don't have the business account yet. But anyways, that was a big deal as well. So lots and lots of inventory on hand. So I was like, all right, I've got a bunch of stuff. I have enough games between all of these stops. Let's go ahead and try and see what the market will bear. So this is the really important part. So I'm going to mark this as important. That's what the title of this chapter is going to be. Important information. So before you think about doing this like too hard, you definitely have to test to see if there's going to be buyers. Of course, you can sell stuff, especially rare stuff on eBay or valuable stuff on eBay, because you have the entire planet looking at this stuff, right? But if you're planning on selling lower dollar stuff like I am, you definitely need a market that wants to buy games, and they need to want to buy them at the prices you want to sell. So once again, we put it on this kind of exclusive board, and we had, I forgot how many, 10 to 15 orders in the first day. Now, to put this in perspective with the Blu-rays, I've been getting 1 to 2 orders a day, maybe, which obviously isn't that hard. I just run down here, throw them in a bag, and, exchange them for cash. But getting 10 to 15, like I said, I can't really remember. I don't have it in front of me. It ended up being about $300 in sales. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot because it's not. But I'm only selling games that are $15 or cheaper. And the absolute bulk and majority, I was selling for only $6, and I was doing 5 games for $20, or 4 games for $20. Came to $5 a piece. So to get that amount of revenue with such cheap stuff is absolutely crazy. And then the next day, I basically killed myself getting consoles ready and everything else. So I put up 2 N64s and 2 of the GameCubes that we got up live. I added a game to each. So we had an N64 with Mario 64, one N64 with Ocarina of Time, one of the GameCubes with Super Mario Sunshine, and then the other one with Shadow the Hedgehog. Mario Sunshine and Shadow the Hedgehog are about the same price. So this way I could price both GameCubes for the same thing. And yeah, right off the bat, one of the N64s, the one with Mario 64, just gone. So that was really good. That was really good to see that was gone. And we only had a couple hours on there. So yesterday it was kind of like a short day, stuff going on, holiday stuff going on. So there wasn't a lot of time for people to go, hey, I want this. Plus, everybody else is getting prepared for the holidays. Yesterday being Friday as of recording. So everybody's trying to get off of work, making sure all their presents are done. It was a busy day. We still got, I think, 2 or 3 more sales that day in maybe a 2-hour time period. So that was actually very, very encouraging. So between all of that, it very much looks like that there's definitely a market here. Remember, I'm only tapping into 1% of the population of just the town that I live in. And that's what we came away with. So there's definitely a market here. People are willing to pay the prices that I need to charge to make it worth it, even on the low end stuff. So what I found really funny was, even though I was selling, the cheaper games, the games that I'll pick up between $2 and $3, I was selling them for $6, buy 4 for $20, so down to $5. Most people did not take advantage of that. Right? So I had multiple people that'll be like, oh, I just want these games. And there'd be like 3 of them. And I'm like, if you buy one more, they get cheaper. Most of the time they didn't care. And every price tier under $15 has that. It's past the $6 games, it was buy 3, get 1 at a discount. So you only had to buy, you buy 3 and then get the discount. So you only had to buy 3 games at the $8 tier, the $10 tier, the $12.50 tier, and the $15 tier. And very, very few people actually took advantage of that, which means they were paying full freight and did not bat an eyelash at it. They just wanted the games. They thought that $6 for a game was pretty good, or 8 or 10 or whatever it happened to be. And then they just bought it. Believe it or not, the $12.50 range was mostly PlayStation 4 games that I had got for about $5 a piece not too long ago. They're not super valuable games, and I'm pricing them about on par with what price charting has them at. I'd go up or down to make sure that they'd fit into those price tiers, but they're fairly close to that. So that's, what they're technically going for. But these people had no qualms whatsoever. Those got gobbled up almost instantly. So if you can get PS4 games, I might have said PS5 a minute ago. They're PS4 games. So if you can get PS4 games for around the $5 mark that happen to be like $10 to $15 in value, people are going to gobble those up. I need to get more of those. I personally didn't focus too heavily on that market, but yeah, those got gobbled up real quick. Some of the ones that I picked up even cheaper from the pawn shops for like $3, I was selling for $8. Those got gobbled up real quick as well. So there's a high demand in my area for PS4 and Xbox One, surprisingly. And PlayStation 3 did really well. I'd say the Xbox 360 demand was about on par with what I was anticipating. I didn't have a lot of Wii games up until recently, so I can't really say if there's a huge market for that. The second day, I did have the Wii U and some Wii U stuff and N64 stuff on there. That didn't really happen to come up too much, once again, due to the short selling day and the fact that it was the Friday before, Christmas weekend. So that's not a good barometer. However, a few guys that came over to pick stuff up, we got to chatting. I was like, you want to see what else we have? I did end up selling a couple of N64 games, and I did end up selling a couple of GameCube games to the guys when they popped on by. So these guys had no qualms. Like I said, I was just charging charting prices, nothing crazy. And I think that that's a good way to go. So if somebody's like, well, you're pricing too high, you can just pull up price charting and go, this is what it's selling for, if it's loose. So if it's loose, just the cartridge, you just go, well, this is what, these are selling for online right now. A lot of people don't realize that doesn't factor in fees and other things like that. But at the same time, if they wanted to go out and buy one of these online, that's effectively what they would be paying. And if you take the time to clean them up, see, like this one still has the sticker on the back. I obviously have to get that off. I have to scrub that down. I have to make it look good, or I can swap the back for, back on one of the other ones that are a little bit cheaper. But anyways, as long as it's in good condition, this one, the label is fantastic. This is a more valuable N64 game. It's about $60 right now on price charting. So you just go, well, this is what it sells for. And this one's in great shape. So I didn't really catch any blowback on there, but that was kind of my justification for where my prices were, especially since I didn't have those games already priced. I was just like, let me see what they're selling for regularly. And then, if anybody wants to see that, you just go, this is what these cost. And nobody's really going to haggle with you too much after that. Maybe they'll want to make a bundle deal or something, but I'm a firm believer in that. If they're buying a bunch of stuff, yeah, throw them a discount, round down on stuff, things like that. That seemed to work out real good. So like if somebody's like buying something and it came to be like $26, $27, I'd be like, just do 25. And just made it nice and simple for everybody involved. And they feel good about that. So these guys, they really liked it. So there's definitely a market where I live. I would recommend, if you're interested in getting into this, buy some cheaper stuff, maybe spend $100 or something. And then just test the waters. So a lot of the people around here, if they're trying to sell games individually, and they don't have access to, kind of a special or exclusive sort of board, just use Facebook Marketplace, take a picture of all the games, as a lot, and then maybe do some individual ones or rows of them, and then just put a list. Just write out a list and the individual prices that you want for them. When you do post it, whatever the lowest price thing that you're selling for, that's what you put on there. So like if you have Pokemon Stadium for $60 and then you have like Madden 64 for like $2, just post $2 and then have, everything's individually priced, not selling as a lot, or you could sell as a lot, whatever you want to do. You can basically have a price target that you want at the end of the day, and then see how long it takes to sell the majority of it. Now, don't expect to clear through every game right away. That's just not going to happen. But, see what the velocity is, see what the reaction is. If you're getting hit up constantly by people, hey, how much for this? How much for this? Or is this still available? Is this still available? And you can even put in your description, go, everything's been set according to price charting. If you want to even throw a little bit of a discount on there, be like, everything's under price charting, maybe knock off 10% or something. My general rule of thumb is, if I'm doing a big bundle, I can go down to about 20% below price charting. I have about 50% margins in there, so that would leave me at about 30%. So if somebody's buying a whole bunch of stuff and they want a deal, cool. Obviously, that cancels any of the other deals that I have, the buy 4 for 20 sort of thing. It's like, no, we'll just take the raw total and I can take up to 20% off. I could do that. So that's kind of how I'm pricing things out. It seems to be working pretty well. People do like the more you buy, the more you save sort of thing. So always have something like that. I tried to do buy 3, get 1 free. The individual pricing would have had to been too high. I didn't like that. I prefer the buy 3, 4, and then discount. That worked better for me instead of the, buy 3, get 1. I know some places will do buy 2, get 1 free. You either have to get your stuff much cheaper than I do, which means you're paying a lot less, or you have to be okay with like stupid low margins. Now, some people are cool with, a 10 or 20% margin. I need to be at about 50%, number one, so I could run the discounts that I need to run. And number two, there's a lot of labor that sometimes has to get involved. So it also has to pay for that. So if I have to rip apart cartridges, clean them outside and inside and cart and everything else, there has to be some money in it for me on that front as well. Because, you got to be paid for your time. But I'm not personally paying over 50% price charting for anything unless it's something that's, number one, in immaculate condition. If I don't have to put any effort in, that's fine. I'll pay a little bit more for that. And two, it has to be like a fast seller. Like if somebody comes to me with a stack of Mario 64s and they want, let's say, 60% price charting, definitely. 70, maybe.
because once you're at 70%, that means if I do run a discount, like a bulk discount for somebody, I'm only going to make 10% on that. Now, once again, I'm not going to do a whole lot of work, and those are going to sell fast. 70% a maybe. I think I'm probably going to hold to the 60-65 range, and just hold to that. But for the most part, I found if you find the right people, they're just looking to clear stuff out. That's where your margins are going to be brought up, right? So, maybe you pay the 60 or 70% on some, stuff that's going to sell really fast. But then, you get a good deal, and then that raises your overall margins. It's a balancing act. That's something that I'm definitely finding. Like, I'm not going to be able to find a GameCube and like 8 very valuable games for $50 every week. That's not going to happen. But when that does happen, that does raise my overall margins. And those were very clean, very minimal effort. Already sold one of the games. Yeah, so it's definitely a balancing act. But I do like the 50% mark overall. That's worth me, not sleeping for a week and just cleaning out, roach infested, cigarette infested consoles. That's a ton of effort. And, you got to be compensated for that. So that would be my suggestion. That seems to be working in my area. And I'm still undercutting most places. I mean, people are coming up to me and they're like, man, these are really, really cheap games. I'm like, yeah. Now, see, here's the thing. They don't have to run around and find all these deals. They don't need to go to the pawn shops and hope that the game that they want is there. I'm putting in the effort. They're paying a little bit of a premium, so they don't have to do all of that. And then, bada bing, bada boom, everybody's making money across the stack here. The pawn shop makes money. I make money. These guys save money. Yeah, it's a good system for everybody. Same thing with like the Facebook deals. They get money. I'm getting money. These guys are saving money, or they're getting something that they want. Some of these games are pretty expensive. Some games are very, very collectible and valuable, but these people don't have to hunt it down. They don't have to be on Facebook every day because that's not what they want to spend their life doing. So it's worth paying a little bit more to just have the thing. And once again, I'm willing to negotiate. I'm willing to work with people, especially if they're willing to work with me. So I really like the business model. It's doing well. On Tuesday, the day after Christmas, we're actually going to be looking at a building to rent. After this very short experiment and the massive amount of success that we've seen in a very short amount of time, we're definitely going to probably take this. So we'll be getting set up with that here soon. So I'm going to need to start building inventory up. For cash flows purposes and for testing, I definitely do want to reach out to the Facebook marketplace as a whole and kind of see where they're at. I think I'll do stick with the cheaper stuff for now and then go ahead and trickle in some of the more expensive stuff or hold back the more valuable stuff like this. I would like to have games like this on hand for when I open, and I'm not going to run across those all the time. So I might hold some stuff back. I'm not really sure. But yeah, things are going really, really well. And yeah, if you're looking to get into this, like I said, just take $100 bill, test the waters, see what you can do, see what deals you can find. If you want to know like what a good deal is, like, hey, should I pick this up? How much should I be paying for stuff? Well, these videos should kind of give you an idea of what I'm paying, which will give you an idea of what you should be watching out for. But as a general rule of thumb, I'm just going to throw out some broad reaching numbers for myself. Might be high for you, might be low for you. I'm not really sure. But when it comes to things like Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 games, if you're looking at, your more common games, even though they're popular, so like your Call of Duties, your Uncharted's, your Gears of Wars, your Halos, you want to pay on average about $250 a piece. So maybe you get 10 games for $2, you get 10 games for $3, you're averaging $250. You want to be about $2.50 a shot. If those games happen to be damaged, you can just throw them out. Your margins will cover that, even though these are cheap games. You want to sell them for $6, and once again, you can discount them to $5. And you're still going to be making double your money, which is where you want to be. Once again, because you're going to have to clean these. A lot of these are dirty. A lot of them are scratched. You have to be pretty careful on that. These aren't going to be immaculate. You're not going to want to be running these through a resurfacer because they're not valuable enough. You want them to just work.
but you still need to get in there, get dust off. You got to clean the cases. These are getting to be almost 20 years old now, so they're going to be dirty. So you're going to have to put in a little bit of effort there. So yeah, I would definitely only be paying about $250 a piece there. It gives you wiggle room, and like I said, if something happens to be bad or damaged or whatever, it's not that big of a deal. Wii games, it really kind of depends. There's a lot of shovelware I would just avoid. I just honestly wouldn't even touch them. If you're looking at like Wii Sports Resort, those are more valuable. Just check price charting. With the Mario games, for the most part, they're only going for like $15 to $20. So you probably want to stay under $10 for those, but they will move fast. So if somebody's like, hey, I want $15 for a Super Mario Galaxy, and they're stuck at 10, you might want to pay that little bit extra. You're not at your 50% margin, but if it's in good shape, complete and everything, and you know that you can get $15 out of it, no problem, that means you can put it up for 20 and just wait for somebody to negotiate you down to 15, or they might just jump at 20. So you could theoretically still get your doubling on there. That's one that I would pay for. But for the most part, with the Wii stuff, I'm not super familiar. Most of the bulk games I wouldn't really pick up, honestly. Just price chart, all of that stuff. Now, Wii U's kind of a different animal. For me, I probably wouldn't recommend most of you guys going out there picking up Wii U stuff. I mean, if it's Marios and Zeldas and stuff, the Zeldas are actually very valuable. If you can find those cheap, get those. But some of the Marios really aren't. Like Mario 3D World Complete, I think is like $10 right now. It's not a lot of money. So that's kind of misleading. But if you want to start banking up for the future, I have a feeling the Wii U is going to be one of the next GameCubes. They didn't sell a lot of Wii U's. The library there is pretty good. Not all games are stuck there, but a few are, like Twilight Princess HD. That's why that one is very expensive. But it still has games like Breath of the Wild, Super Mario 3D World, Star Fox Zero is stuck on there. It's got some games stuck on there, plus it's a very unique console. I have a feeling that's going to be a very collectible console. If you can get the games really cheap now, because they're not expensive right now, stick them in a closet for about 5 years, or play them. Put them in your collection, play them. Once again, they're great games. But hang on to them for a while, buy them while they're cheap, and then sell them in a few years. I think that that's going to be the next GameCube. I think those are going to be extremely valuable. Even the cheaper games will likely be extremely valuable. Probably within 10 years, I'd say maybe even within 5. So I would start hoarding that stuff. But if you're just starting off, I would probably avoid it because there's not a whole lot of value in it at this point in time. Now I want to talk about GameCube and N64. These are kind of diverging. So GameCube games are extremely valuable. Even like, was it NBA Live? I had like some scratch loose NBA Live like 04 or something that nobody cares about. But even that was like $10 or something. Loose. I was just like, what? Who's paying $10 for this? GameCube is what you want to pick up. Pretty much everything. Now, you do want to price chart all of them because the prices are just crazy on these. Like, you'd be like, oh, this is a good game. This might be like 20 or 30 bucks. And then it's like 80, right? Like Smash Melee is like $75, $80. It's like, why? Mario parties, those are like 100 almost. They're like ridiculous depending on which one you're looking at. So that is a very valuable system. You pretty much want to pick up all the GameCube stuff you can get your hands on, even if it seems like it's junk, it's shovelware. If the case is good, even the cases alone are valuable at this point in time because, people might have, a really nice, Zelda, a Wind Waker or something, but their case is gummed up and not super good, but the paper's good and manual's good and everything else. They'll actually just pay for the cases. So GameCube is definitely something you want to pick up almost no matter what. Like I said, price chart them, you'll be fine. Now, N64 is kind of an interesting one, and the prices on these are going down very hard from what I've noticed. So I price out N64 pretty regular. This is the main console I want to collect for my kids. It's actually what started all of this, and the prices were much, much higher the last couple of times that I checked. I think what's happening is because they have the reproduction market out there now, which, by the way, I can't really show you too good on here, but If the eye on the Nintendo on the back looks like a square, it's authentic. And if it's a circle, it's actually a reproduction. I had a reproduction Mario 64. That's how I was able to test this. So you want the square on there, but most people don't actually care about that, is really what it comes down to. They're okay buying reproductions, and I think that's forcing a lot of prices down on a lot of these games. So I wouldn't be paying big money for N64 games, is basically what I'm saying. I got some amazing deals on the games that I got. Like, this one was absolutely crazy. A crazy good deal with the Harvest Moon 64 and the console. The big lot of games that I got was pretty good. I got it at half price charting, even though a lot of the games weren't that great. That deal I probably should not have taken, but it does allow me to have inventory. So it's kind of a dual purpose. But if you're buying N64 games, you should be buying them more on the cheap. So most of the reproduction carts are $20 to $25. So there is a floor. No game's really ever going to go below that, because that's what the reproduction cost. I mean, they have boards, they have memory chips. You know, it costs money to make them. So there's going to be a minimum. It just seems like a lot of people are okay with the reproductions and saving the money. So like Ocarina of Time used to be for the gray one, not the collector's edition. I remember that was going for like $60 or $70, and the collector's edition was like $100 plus. Those are down to about $40 now, because you can just buy a reproduction for about $25. My guess is that's probably going to be its floor, but a lot of people just kind of don't care. So I wouldn't spend big money on N64. It's a bit unfortunate, but there's some cool stuff out there. I'm actually going to sell, not reproductions, but I'm going to sell homebrew carts. They actually have homebrew games now on cartridge, and custom game cases that I've been telling you guys about. They actually have custom boxes that you can get for them, and I'm actually going to sell them in the custom boxes at the store, and I'll be able to charge a premium for that, because it looks like a new complete game for the N64. So there's like some cool Zelda games out there that are homebrew. There's people online that are reviewing them. I actually watched a review. I'm like, is this any good? And he showed some gameplay. It looks like, you know, more Ocarina of Time, and you don't have to get a new console. So a lot of people out there, I think, would actually really like that. So that part, I'm all about. The fact that these reproductions are tanking the value, I'm kind of on the fence with this. I kind of like the fact that people can get games at a more affordable price and actually just enjoy the games. But then again, if you did spend big money on something, like, I'm sure this might have been, I don't know, $100 or something not too long ago, and then now it's only worth 60. That might be annoying, but it is what it is. It's supply demand. There'll always be a market that wants the authentic stuff and will pay more. So you could always charge more for the authentic stuff. But however, long story short, don't spend a lot of money on the N64 stuff, in my opinion. Super Nintendo hasn't really come up yet. I'm good on Super Nintendo for my kids, so I'm not like super hunting for it. But Super Nintendo typically seems to be pretty valuable as well if you can get them. And once again, if they're authentic. I don't even know how to check to see if they're fakes, because I just haven't run into anybody really selling Super Nintendo. I got a couple of games in that lot, but there was nothing crazy there. But most of those games still seem to be pretty valuable. So a lot of people are charging big money for Super Nintendo. I think that that's one of the hottest, really old consoles, pre-3D consoles out there. Genesis does not seem to be too terribly valuable. I don't know what the demand would be on that, but I know that the pricing's not very high, so you have to go really, really cheap on Genesis. And NES is kind of in the same boat. So the original Nintendo, most of the games are very, very inexpensive. Even like Mario 3s, they're only selling for like $20. And you know that that's a hot game. That's a game that most people that are going to want to buy an NES today, they're going to want something like Mario 3. So most of the games, not too expensive. Of course, if you run across a Dragon Warrior 4, that's extremely expensive. So this one actually just sold for $110 on eBay. So yeah, there are some very rare, some very expensive games out there. But for the most part, believe it or not, most NES games are just going to be a $5 bill. That's what you're going to have to sell them for. So you're going to have to try to get them for like $2. Most people think that all old Nintendo games are extremely valuable. So you're going to have a hard time getting them for that little. So I personally wouldn't really worry about it. The best thing to do is if you want to collect NES or even Super Nintendo games is to use things like GameCube, Wii, X360, PS3 games. Kind of like that Black Ops 2 combo that I showed you. People don't think that's worth anything. Worth 25 bucks. If you can get it for $5 or $10, you're doing pretty good. So you buy those all day, go ahead and build up your bank, and then just buy the NES games that you really, really want. Unless you can get somebody that's just selling a ton of them really, really cheap. Or if you notice, hey, look at that, they got a Dragon Warrior in there, and then like this covers the cost of everything else, right? So then, you know, you can make that deal. You can get a bunch of cheap games, and then just have a couple of games basically pay for it. So NES games, Super Nintendo, like I said, I just don't see them coming up. But the NES games are way overpriced, at least in my market. Really the big one, I think, to jump on is GameCube and Wii U. And the other one that I think is going to start popping off is PS3. I think PS3 is going to start popping off in the not-too-distant future. We're approaching the 20th anniversary. Prices on, you know, the big games aren't really moving yet. Things are still cheap, but consoles seem to be creeping up in price, especially the slim models, because the old fat models, well, they die. They run very hot. They're super hard to maintain. If you don't rip them apart and rethermal paste them, they will die. You're just better off with a slim or a super slim. It's just like the same thing with the Xboxes. You're better off with Xbox 360 Slims. Don't even bother with the other stuff. But anyways, I think PS3's investing in PS3 stuff, especially PS3 exclusives. Those are starting to creep up, especially the collectors, the HD collectors or collections. I actually had a few of them. I have the Splinter Cell one, Killzone trilogy, and the Ratchet and Clank collection, and one of the God of War collections. So it's got like the PS2 God of War games on PlayStation 3, and those are getting pretty valuable now. So you want to keep an eye out for that. Anything that's stuck on the PlayStation 3 is going to start going up. But yeah, I think that that's going to be a console. A lot of people are going to be like, yeah, when I was a kid, I really loved, you know, the PlayStation 3. Let me go and, you know, check that out again. As a lot of those games aren't on PS4 or PS5 or anything like that. So anyways, that's just my advice at this point in time. This is an extremely long video. Hope you guys have a Merry Christmas. Hope I'm helping some of you guys out. And please let me know in the comment section down below. Number one, if you made it this far. That's, you know, a feat in and of itself. But number two, if you're going to try this out, or if you have tried this out, let me hear your stories. Let me hear, you know, whether or not you're seeing success in your market. What tips and tricks have you found that works for you? You know, might help me out, might help somebody else out. That's what I want to do with the community here. I want everybody to kind of pool our knowledge and resources, and we can go ahead and, you know, everybody makes a buck. We make other people happy. They get stuff for cheaper than they thought it was. I don't know. This is working out really good everywhere across the board. It's just a whole bunch of happy people. That's one of the main reasons why I wanted to pivot. You know, this channel is moving towards making people happy, making everybody happy, and having fun playing video games. And if you want direct access to me, you can do so by clicking the little join button down below or becoming a Patreon member. That gets you into the Discord where we can chat about this stuff one-on-one, head-to-head. That'd be really great. And once again, make sure to subscribe, share with friends, all that cool YouTube stuff really helps out. And thank you so much, guys. I'll catch you guys in the next video.